got a lot of respect for Justin Fields and the things that he's done. He's reading, and if it's not there, he's going. And that's what you should do. That's what he should do, man. He's not going to spend a lot of time back there and just let guys tee off on him and sack him. He has all the tools to be, one of the best quarterbacks ever in NFL history.
And when I say he is a real, true highlight film, he's a highlight film. Gets up at the contact. I'm talking about, I've been watching film for a long time. He's been taking a beating. He began to hit a lot, but you see this man keep getting up. My boy, Hassan Reddick, he's strong. Like, strong. He threw that boy off on him. Like, this kid is unreal.
No, I just wanted him to stop scrambling. And it was pretty irritating because he didn't listen at all.
He's a special talent. He really is. He can spin the rock. He works hard. He doesn't complain.
Having Justin Fields brings a little bit more pressure to other teams by having, a dominant quarterback like he is.
Yo. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
How you feeling today?
Feeling great. Especially after a video, I'm feeling very motivated, pumped up, ready to kill this day.
Nothing like a Justin Fields hype video.
Hey, man.
I know probably some people are wondering, why the hell did we open up with a Justin Fields video? And we'll get to that later.
Y'all gonna see.
We'll get to that later. But it's definitely a wonderful way to just kind of remind us of what it was like when we thought we had the good days coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Coach, it's been a hell of a week, man. I've been doing a lot of shopping.
Okay.
Christmas is coming.
Yeah, it is.
My daughters are asking for every goddamn thing in the world. And unfortunately, I will feel like a bad daddy if I don't get them the things that they're asking for.
What's the most expensive gift you've had to buy so far?
So it's not necessarily about expensive right now. It's about quantity.
Oh, it's just a lot.
Yeah,
gotcha.
My oldest daughter just wants everything Bluey and Gabby Dollhouse. I'm not sure if you know anything about these cartoons.
No.
But she wants everything that so pretty much it's like. I grew up with like Rugrats. I grew up with like stuff like that. So anything like cartoonish that she's into right now, she's just like asking for. So it's just like anytime she sees something like Daddy, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Here we go again.
Here we go. Yeah. But that's what we do for the ladies we love, huh?
That's very true. Very true.
But let's get right into it, Coach.
Yeah.
Week 15.
Week 15.
As always, we ask the same question, but it's always a good question. Was there any surprises for you this week?
Let's see. I mean,
yeah, that's a long pause.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think that the route that the Buccaneers gave to the Chargers, 40-17.
I think we both did not expect that. So I was saying that is probably your biggest surprise.
The Jets finally won a football game.
I mean, it was against the Jaguars.
Right,
so,
exactly.
I mean, I think we picked the Jets. I picked the Jets because Trevor Lawrence was out. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we can't really be up here excited about the Jets winning shit right now.
No, of course not.
I guess my biggest surprise was Green Bay beating the shit out of Seattle. That I did not see. I know you picked Green Bay, but I did not see them just coming in and just absolutely beating the hell out of them. That was not what I thought was going to happen.
Green Bay looked like a contender that day.
Man, we're going to talk about Green Bay too.
We will.
But I have my thoughts on them. Other than that, I mean, everybody else pretty much took care of business the way that I thought was going to take care of business. The Bengals won. Washington squeaked out with a close win. I thought that game was not going to be as close as it was, but New Orleans sometimes can show up to play and sometimes they don't. And
divisional games.
Yeah, and Washington is still trying to figure some things out with their team right now. They're clearly not going to be that much of a threat in the playoffs.
No.
But they'll make it, I think. So as long as they make it, that's a successful year for the Washington Commanders. It's really more than what they thought was going to happen. But other than that, everybody else pretty much did what they're supposed to do. Houston handled their business, which I thought was going to happen. Even though I think you picked Miami for that game.
I did, just because they've been playing pretty good football as of recently. So Texans handling the business there. But I did want to note the Philadelphia Eagles won a football game by passing the ball instead of just running it all game. So that was actually crazy to see. It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen Jalen Hurts actually have like a good game. Good game meaning like throwing for like over 250 yards and Saquon not rushing for like 120.
And he was sure to let the world know. He came to the podium and said, "That's what y'all wanted, huh?"
God, he played one fucking good game, man.
I swear. Hey, man.
Hey,
I'm gonna say this: when you talk shit and I show up and I handle my business and prove you wrong, you can't really tell. You can't at that point. You can't tell me how I respond to it. But all right. Other than that, there's no big surprises outside of that. But now, as always, let's play our fucking game, Coach. Our favorite fucking game. Who's cooking and who should stay the fuck out the kitchen? Number one, this team, like I said, shocked the shit out of me with the way that they won this week. And they are definitely a team that I don't want to see successful. Like, if there's any team in the world that I just always want to be bad, it's this team. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers. All right, I'm going to just say this. They're a good team. They get on a roll, they get off a roll, they get on a roll, they get off a roll. Sometimes they look very, very dangerous, and at other times they look like a team that just is winning games by the skin of their teeth. I have them in the same boat as the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're not a bad team, but I do not see them as much of a threat to winning the Super Bowl at all. I think that they're going to get in the playoffs. I think if they're having a hot night, and they're really on fire, they can beat anyone. But they're just as easily able to be beat by anyone at the same breath. You know what I mean? So I'm not high on them being a Super Bowl contender, but they're just one of those teams that if they're rolling, they're the team that you don't want to see in the NFC, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, they're a good team, no doubt about it, and it sucks because obviously as Bears fans, we don't like to see that, but
fuck no.
Yeah, but got to give credit where credit is due at the end of the day, having a podcast and kind of just analyzing sports and talking about
and trying our best to be objective.
Trying. Sometimes we're not, but
whatever.
A lot of the times we're not, but we try. But no, I definitely agree with you on the point that like sometimes they really show up for games and look like great team, like a great team, and then some games they don't show up and it's like, oh, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Very, very, very concerning to see those up and downs. I mean, not as a Bears fan, but I'm sure if you're a Packers fan, it's like, well, once we get into the playoffs, which team are we actually going to see out on that football field? Is it going to be Josh Jacobs rushing for 2 touchdowns and 140 yards and Jordan Love throwing another 3? Or is Jordan Love going to throw 3 picks and Josh Jacobs only rushes for 60? You know what I mean? Like, that's just the story of the Packers this year. And I mean, when they're on, they're a scary team, but when they're off, they're puppies.
Yeah, when they're off, they're very beatable. And like I said, that's why I have them in the same boat as Pittsburgh, where it's just like you're not going into that game thinking that you're just going to whoop their ass, but it's kind of like they're beatable. It's like they're not scaring you like you would the Eagles or Detroit. Well, Detroit not anymore because their defense is just completely obliterated. They have they're basically signing me and you to play football for them. Because they have their entire defense is hurt. They're just grabbing guys from practice squads, from guys who were cut off rosters. They're just trying to make shift a defense right now. So Detroit may not be as formidable as they was before. So now the NFC looks like it's going to go through Philadelphia, which I know Coach Moo is probably excited as shit about.
Shit, you never know. I mean, Minnesota's right up there at 12-2.
Yeah, I'm still not a believer in Minnesota. I think there's a chance that Sam Darnold can still turn back into a pumpkin. But, nevertheless, it is what it is. But speaking about the NFC and Philadelphia, who's cooking right now? is the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni. Now, it's crazy because we talked about him earlier on in this season about kind of being somebody who should stay the fuck out the kitchen because he was not necessarily doing the things that we thought was in the best interest of the Philadelphia Eagles and how the team ended last season. It was kind of just a feeling of him being on the hot seat. I'm not saying that he has completely turned the team around. Clearly, Saquon has played a great part of what has made the Philadelphia Eagles a much more dynamic and dangerous team. So I'm not trying to give all this credit to Sirianni, but what I will say is it feels like this season he has mastered the ability to push buttons. That he's learned how to say the right things to the right guys at the right time to make them go out there and ball the fuck out when they need games, when they need, big moments and big games that they're trying to win. And I think for right now, if he can continue to just not be the reason they lose games, that'll probably be the best thing he can do as a coach for this team because I think they have everything that they need to be successful. It's just him staying the fuck out the way and not making dumbass coaching decisions with being overly aggressive and pressurized situations, not trying to be too cute on offense, just kind of sticking to the formulas in which has been working this entire time. If he can do that, Philadelphia will be a problem in the NFC playoff situation.
Yeah, no doubt. They've been playing really great football in the past couple of weeks. Earlier on in the season, I thought this was going to be a down year for the Eagles, even with Saquon on the team.
Really,
they didn't look that great at the beginning. I think a lot of Eagles fans could agree with me. There was some concern, which is why they were calling for Sirianni's head, even though now they're at 12-2, I believe, right? Which is, I did not see him ending up in this position right now.
No,
right on top of the NFC. But yeah, I think the point you made about Nick Sirianni kind of staying out of the way and making sure his coaching decisions aren't the reason why this team doesn't perform, I find it very similar to kind of how the Bears were earlier this season. Like, I think the team, as far as the roster, is good enough, but the coaching just couldn't get out of the way as a unit to allow that team to flourish. Like, I think Nick Sirianni isn't doing enough negative things to impact the actual skill and the actual competitiveness of the group that they have. I mean, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, it's a loaded roster, and I think the Bears roster really compares damn near pretty closely with that, offensive unit.
I would
you know what I mean? So it's like, I think this is the perfect case of what happens when you got a coach that's kind of staying out of the way, and then, when you don't have a coach that stays out of the way.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on. Staying in the NFC because the NFC is just hot right now. I mean, we could talk about the AFC all day, but their more so conversation is around MVP race rather than it really is about great teams because there are a couple great teams in the AFC, but I don't think the AFC playoff games are going to be as tight as the NFC. I think from the wild card all the way through, the NFC games are going to be really tight.
Absolutely.
But sticking with the NFC, another team that pains me, not as much as Green Bay, but another team that pains me to give credit to, but I just got to give credit to, and more so their head coach than anything else, Kevin O'Connell for the Minnesota Vikings. Coming off the Sean McVay tree, he is putting on a masterclass of just showing you what the degrees of separation are in the NFL regarding coaching. Like, when people say there are literally levels to this shit, he is putting on a masterclass of, even at the pro level, there is levels to this shit when it comes down to coaching. He has transformed and turned around a quarterback that people thought was on his way out of the league. A former, I don't even know if he was a number one pick, but a former first round quarterback. I think he was top 5. I think he went top 5.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold was pretty much on the list of considered to be a quarterback bust. an all-time generational bust because he didn't do anything with the Jets, went to Carolina and still did nothing, comes to Minnesota under the premise that he was just going to be a veteran backup quarterback. J.J. McCarthy gets hurt. Insert Sam Darnold. And it's like, that motherfucker was supposed to be the starting quarterback from the jump.
Yeah.
And that only can be contributed to Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'm just like, yo, something has to be said about how there is such a disparity between good coaches in the NFL and bad coaches in the NFL. Like, I understand that you have your good Hall of Fame coaches, but at the professional level, it should not be that drastic of a gap between great coaches, good coaches, and just what the fuck are you doing on the sideline? It shouldn't be that much of a difference. Like, he's literally in one season, not even in a full season, in 14 games, has shown that the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers have absolutely no idea what the fuck to do with anything or anybody. That's fucking absurd, coach.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, when putting the show together the other day, I really wanted to put Kevin O'Connell on this.
Yeah.
He's my pick for Coach of the Year this year, just because of the pretty low expectations the Vikings had going into this year. I mean, they had J.J. McCarthy, who was going to be the starter at the beginning, and then people were like, oh, yeah, I mean, they might win 7 or 8 games.
Right.
And then when Sam Darnold stepped in because McCarthy got hurt and out for the rest of the season, people were like, oh, yeah, they're definitely not doing shit this year. And here they are, 12-2 as well, sitting on top of the NFC, tied for number 1 in the NFC North, right?
Was it a 3-way tie right now?
I believe. Well, for the whole NFC, yeah.
Yeah, through Detroit, Philly, and Minnesota.
And Minnesota, right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, the offense in Minnesota has always been fine since he's come on. He's a very good offensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
I really think the addition of Brian Flores on that defensive unit has allowed Minnesota to actually make the run this year.
Yeah.
But it still does take a good head coach to put that all together. And
I agree.
He's nothing short of a great head coach, surely. Really is.
All right, enough showering teams that's in the NFC North that are not the Bears that we really don't give a fuck about, but because we want to be objective sports fans, we're trying to do our best not to say fuck Green Bay and fuck Minnesota. But moving on to our favorite part of the game, who should stay the fuck out the kitchen? And number 1 on our list of who needs to get the fuck out and figure out what is going on with their life and themselves and how the fuck they've gotten themselves in this situation, Daryl fucking Morey of the Philadelphia 76ers as their president of operations. Look, I'm not going to say he's a bad president of operations because depending on what you're asking for as the owner, he could be delivering. And this is why I'm saying this. In Houston, I don't know if the plan was winning more than it was selling tickets. But damn, did they get fans in those seats.
Mm-hmm.
He built a team that was competitive enough and fun to watch with James Harden. Built a team, got coaches that was there in Houston to enhance James Harden. Put James Harden on the track to be the Hall of Famer that he is. Got a team around James Harden that allowed James Harden to look like an MVP who eventually won the MVP. And that model of success was kind of duplicated in other areas, in other teams where guys and GMs were constructing rosters similar to how Houston put a lot of three-point shooters around, run and gun, space the floor, shoot a lot of threes, and get it up, right? Kind of built off the Golden State model, but a little bit more just less fluidity and motion and more ISO setting, drive and kick, three-point shooting. Now, he's gone to Philadelphia, and he's been there since 2020. And they have not done shit. Now, what he has done, though, is consistently collect stars to be a part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
Every single year, based upon the moves that Daryl Morey has done, we have gone into the season saying, damn, Philly actually has a okay roster. The roster doesn't look too bad. They might be able to make some noise. I think Daryl Morey's truest issue, and like I said, it could just be depending on what the owners want. I don't know if he knows how to put together a team as much as he knows how to collect stars. I think he can sell. I think he could sell water to ice.
Okay.
That's how much of a. I think that's how great of a salesman he is. And it can be proven that's true because James Harden was somebody who kind of said, Daryl, when he went on the whole, Daryl Morey lied to me. He lied to me. Okay. Did you really believe the fucking president of operations about how much money he was going to give you at the end of the season and all of these different things? Like, only you, James Harden, would be sitting around concerned about Daryl Morey lying to you when you kind of should have known that he was not going to pay you all that fucking money. But nevertheless, the point is, he doesn't know how to build a winning team, but he can put stars together. And at this point, I think he's running on fumes in regards to being able to sell an owner, sell a fan base, and sell even players on his ability to do anything to put you in a position to win. And now Philadelphia is at a point where if he doesn't break this up, now it's going to finally reach him and make him look like the ass that he most likely is. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much all the points you made. Yeah, Philly has always kind of walked into the season, and we're always like, oh yeah, I mean, they got to be like Tyrese Maxey now, and like adding another All-Star. Like they should be a good team every year, but then every year they disappoint because it's actually not a good team. It's just names.
Yes.
It's not actual players like coming together and being a good team. It's just
no cohesiveness.
It's not a team, it's a roster.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Yes.
Which is that's what Daryl Morey does best.
But it sells
so,
tickets.
yeah, like you mentioned, it's like, well, I mean, as, president of basketball operations, is that what the owner is asking of him? Like, I'm sure it is. I'm sure, you want to put a roster together that's going to get asses in seats.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you want success with that, but the main goal for an owner is all that money. Is the money, right? Especially in Philly.
Is that fatty?
That
fatty. Need that paper.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I agree with all the points you made. I really have nothing more to add besides, he's good at building a roster, but not a team.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out what's going to happen with the Philadelphia 76ers. I think they are on the verge of breaking up like the Beatles. And I'm not sure exactly how much of the breakup will be. I don't know if it will include Paul George. I know for sure it'll include Joel Embiid.
Yeah, no doubt.
Probably the only person that'll still be standing is probably the two young guys, Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah. Everybody
else will most likely be on the chopping block to be involved in any trade if there's something that happens. But moving on from Daryl Morey, this next team, I'm not saying they're in the similar space as Philadelphia, but they are trending in troubling waters because it's not looking like they are getting back to the form in which they were a few years ago, and that is the Denver Nuggets. They should stay the fuck out the kitchen, but it's with a caution.
Yeah.
When I say they should stay the fuck out the kitchen, it's more so just kind of like get away from the stove. Just kind of stand near the island.
Sure.
You can kind of stay in the kitchen because I don't want to completely kick them out just yet when you have Jokic, when you have Jamal Murray, when you have a Hall of Fame backup point guard in Russell Westbrook, when you have the ultimate glue guy in Aaron Gordon, when you have potentially a Hall of Fame coach in Mike Malone, and when you have a young stud who without back injuries, probably would have been the number one prospect. Well, he was the number one prospect in the country, but when his back injuries came around, he kind of slipped in his draft class and Michael Porter Jr. But something is happening in Denver that I did not expect. And what's happening, it looks like there is a lot of contention and tension, disarray, dysfunction, and lack of teammanship between that group and collection of guys right now. I don't know if the pressure of winning and getting back to the finals is starting to make those guys crumble, because the expectations are for them to win.
Mm-hmm.
The expectations is not for them just to be a good team in the Western Conference. They passed that a long time ago.
Absolutely.
Especially after they won the championship in what I believe was 2022.
I believe so.
Or was it 2022 or 2021? It was either 2021 or 2022. But I nevertheless, they have won the championship in recent history. Going back to a place of barely being a team that can get to the Western Conference Finals, maybe being a team that can get to the second round, is not the direction that the Denver Nuggets want to go in.
No, not at all.
And I think that is causing a lot of the issues within the team right now, because they know that they're not on the trajectory as far as this season right now. They're not on the trajectory of getting back to the finals.
Yeah.
They are on the trajectory of being a team that's going to get bounced, depending on the matchup, either in the first round or at the very max, the second round.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Another point that I really agree with you on, like, I really think it is the pressure that's actually getting to these guys. Last year they played Minnesota. Was it the conference? It was the conference finals, right? Minnesota beat them, or was it the second round?
It was the second round.
It was the second round
because Minnesota didn't get to the finals.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. That series, I found myself rooting for Minnesota a lot, especially in Game 7.
Was it because of Ant Edwards?
I'm like, no. I was just like, fuck this Denver team. Like, they've been winning for, like, these past couple of years. Like, they're so good when I feel like they shouldn't be, but they're just such a good team and well meshed together. I was like, it's about damn time. And then this year, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, the pieces.
What the fuck is
what
going
happened?
on?
I'm not expecting you guys to be bad. I just don't want you guys to win.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I clearly, and like no doubt, expected these guys to come back this year, especially Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and be able to replicate the success they've had in years past, especially with Michael Porter Jr. being more tenured in the league now. Aaron Gordon, still being Aaron Gordon, like he's getting better and better each year. Like really, this team should be getting better as time progresses, but they're getting worse. And very, very troubling to see. Not for me, because I'm not the biggest Denver fan. I don't hate them, but I also don't really like them. But yeah, no doubt, if you're a Denver fan, I mean, this is really concerning considering, you're paying Jokic a boatload of money. I don't know how many years Jamal Murray has left on his contract, but he is underperforming like crazy since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. Jamal Murray, it seems like either the injuries are starting to really bite him in the ass, and he isn't able to recover from it and get back to the level of play that he was at, or he could really just want to get the fuck out of there.
I mean, but even in the Olympics, though, when he was playing for Team Canada, he was not playing great ball at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That it could be the injuries, or it could just, or maybe he. I don't know. Sometimes some guys are more fatigued than they let on. Like they're mentally fatigued, they're physically fatigued, and they're just in a situation where they have no choice but to keep forging ahead, keep competing, because the mission is greater than what their individual situation is. And that could be the case for Jamal Murray. I'm not going to say that he's not the same player that he used to be. I just think something is going on, something is happening, and we're just not privy to it yet. But if any moves happen in Denver, we're going to get all the tea about everything that's going on.
Oh, for sure.
if any trades or anything like that start to happen with this Denver Nuggets team, once that happens, everything that we want to know about what has happened with the Denver Nuggets, we're going to find out. From the fighting to the inside, the locker room stuff, we're going to get it all because there is going to be so much hoopla around what the fuck just happened with Denver and why are they selling.
Maybe Jamal Murray's like making fun of Jokic's horse racing. I mean, I don't know.
Could be. And Jokic is serious about his horses.
He's very serious about his horses.
He's serious about his horses.
Very serious about his horses.
All right. Well, that was our game. Who's cooking? Who just stay the fuck out the kitchen? So I want to quickly pivot to a team that we've talked about them, but we haven't really given them any kind of true love and just kind of diagnosing what they've been doing as of late. And that's our Chicago Bulls. We've done a lot of Bears recaps, and at this point, the Bears have broken our hearts so much that we're just kind of like, fuck this shit. So we want to show a little love to the Bulls. And right now, the Bulls, I think, sit 8th in the East, or at least they're tied with the 8th spot. They're sitting 12-15. They're 3 games below 500, which again goes back to when I was saying that Zach LaVine sat out those 3 games and we went 0-3 in those games. And there's a strong possibility that had he played those games, we either could have went 2-1, 3-0, and at the very worst, 1-2. I doubt if we would have lost all 3 because the way those games played, it was clear that you was missing his scoring in a lot of those games. So let's say, for the sake of argument, we're sitting 15-15 and we're the number 5 seed in the East because that's where that would put us. More likely somewhere number 5, number 6 in the East. Would you be happy about the way that this season is going if that was the case?
Yeah. I mean, if you're 5 or 6, I think those weren't expectations going into this year. Like this year, I'm fully expecting the Bulls to miss the play-in or just make it.
Yeah.
Like barely. And, for them being able to, like, they're not getting blown out in these games either. Like,
no,
a lot of these games, they're competing.
Yeah.
And all these role players are elevating their games, and it's good to see. I mean, besides, like, Kobe, he's really concerning me because, like, that's a guy I thought this year would make that jump because Debo is gone, and he hasn't.
He has not been able to transition to being that consistent 18 to 24 point per game scorer every single night with efficient shooting. He has not become that guy.
No.
And that troubles me because if this is the guy that you're saying we're supposed to be moving forward with and forging ahead with in the world or the realm of trading Zach LaVine, then don't sign me up for it.
I'll tell you what.
In this game particularly, I do want to shout out Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, I was about to say
yeah, Lonzo. In my opinion, Lonzo is going. If I'm looking at this situation, Lonzo would make it easy for me to think about trading Josh Giddey right now, because the concerns that you had about him not being able to come back from injury and him not being, he's showing no signs of that knee being the issue. He's not showing any signs. Oh. He's getting over screens. He's allowing himself to get bumped. He's pushing in transition. I feel like there's been knee contact and he hasn't winced or anything. He's fell to the floor multiple times diving after basketballs. Yeah. Like, this isn't a guy who's playing like things still hurt.
No.
And I don't care who you are in the world. I don't care who you are. In no basketball world are you going to convince me that it's worth more having Josh Giddey over Lonzo Ball. You're not going to convince me of it.
I agree with you.
Yeah, you're not going to convince me of it. And the last game that they played, it was Lonzo Ball who hit the big shot to keep us from losing that game. We were clearly leading Toronto throughout the course of the game. We had a 16-point lead. I think it was our largest lead. And by the fourth quarter, Toronto went on a crazy run. RJ Barrett just started going fucking nuts.
Grady Dick was just hitting
everything. And then in the waning minutes, with like I think under a minute left to go, Lonzo Ball swings the ball to Kobe. They're trying to get the ball to Vucevic. Vucevic ends up falling like an old fucking man, which you call him all the time. And
what I call you?
That is what you try to call me. You try to call me Unc. But Lonzo Ball ends up just saying, fuck it. Kobe swings it back to Lonzo. Lonzo sees that Vucevic is on the floor. The shot clock is going down. He just pulls the three and just aces that bitch.
Yeah.
Laces that hoe. And I'm just like, yo, that should be the starting point guard, because the things that Giddey can't do when games are tough and we need scoring, Lonzo brings us every single time.
The only reason I don't think Lonzo is starting yet is because I think he's still on somewhat of a minutes restriction.
Yeah, but it's up to 20. They've moved up to 23, 24 minutes now. If you notice, all the games as of late, he's been playing more than the 16 minutes that they said.
Well, yeah, which is, I mean, it's great to see. I love Lonzo, and I was like really happy when we got him, and I love when he does play because I've been following him since he's been in high school. Like when he played for Chino Hills and they had that whole thing going, went to UCLA, like always was a fan of his game, and he meshes. He could fit in on any team. There isn't a team in the NBA where he just doesn't fit in.
And that's
compared to Josh Giddey. You really have to fit, players around him.
You have to build around him he's a superstar.
But he's not. He's not.
I don't, but we'll follow up on that. We'll follow up that.
We're good on that. But.
All right, everybody. It's time for the halftime report. Yeah, baby. All right. We did not want to do a Bears recap because, again, like we said, they have broken our hearts, and there's no need to go through that game in which we got our asses whooped. But we still got to talk about them, Coach.
Yeah, we'll still talk about them.
We still got to talk about them because even though they break our hearts, we keep coming back to them time and time and time again. So I don't know if it's them or us, but one of us is completely fucked up and screwed. Is it both of us?
It might be me.
It might be you.
It might be me.
All right, but before we start getting into our conversation, I wanted to watch a little video about a Hall of Famer and his breakdown of what he's saying with Caleb, because as much gripe and grief I get over my stance on Caleb Williams, my thoughts and opinions are starting to circulate and permeate through the media right now. So I wanted to play this quick video and just kind of get a little bit of your response to this. By the way, everybody watching, he has not seen this video.
I have not. So
this is going to be fun.
Live reaction.
The way it should be. Now I don't know what it can be, but there's a reason he was a number one pick. There's a reason. He's good. He's a really good quarterback. Based on what we've seen so far, just in NFL, as a rookie, it hasn't been what it should be. And it shouldn't be like that as good as he is.
I just think it's pre-snap. He just got to get a better job of pre-snap. He's got to do a better job of processing and letting the football go. Like I said, there were situations that he had receivers open, and for whatever reason, his eyes went elsewhere. That's not play calling. If I call a play and I got a guy open, if your number one receiver, your number one read is open, I don't know why you would go to two without giving one a chance. And there were plays like that tonight. There were plays that'll be had, and sometimes I think he likes playing. I think one of his strengths is that he's very good at improvisation. Yeah. He's very good at playing off script. Yeah. But that's not how you want to try to make a living. Now, it's nice to have that in your back pocket. You see guys like a Lamar, you see guys like a Mahomes, you see guys like a Josh Allen. Be able to.
So, what do you make of that, Coach?
I mean, no, I agree with the point. Like, especially in this last game.
Yeah.
I was watching that game at my girl's house, and I'm like, Caleb, man, you're making it so hard for me to root for you right now, man. You're making it hard
for me to go back in there and tell Coach, shut the fuck up.
No, but like seriously, he was, because like multiple instances he was missing open throws, like that fade, that go route that Keenan Allen had to the back left pylon. Just completely overthrew him. Completely.
Two go routes down the sideline, outside the numbers for Rome Odunze on both sides of the field.
That one too. Missed. And then, of course, like he made the throw to Rome that Rome drops, but it's like, man, it's so frustrating. And then like that one play that everybody's been seeing this whole week of him setting back, observing, people say he had DJ Moore over the middle. He didn't, because the Mike linebacker was there.
Right.
But then he scrambles out, had Rome,
Didn't throw
decides
it.
to spin again like he's
Yep.
a fucking ballerina.
Mm-hmm.
Comes back the other way like it's Madden, and then tosses it up to 107-year-old Keenan Allen for a jump ball, which Keenan Allen just jumps way too early. Like I don't know what the hell that jump ball like attempt was.
It was
from Keenan.
It was just mistiming.
Yeah, but like regardless, like that's the shit like that you've been saying. That's the shit that everybody has been saying that he was doing in college that will not translate to the NFL. I don't know why he's reverted back to that, because like when we played Detroit, when we played Minnesota the first time, when we played Green Bay the first time, he wasn't doing that shit.
No.
And he was finding success.
He stayed on script.
Yes. And like he would occasionally go off script when he needed to.
Yeah.
This game, it was like the off script stuff was option number one.
Yes.
And that is not okay.
Because again, the translation, it feels like the translation now is let Caleb be Caleb. The problem is we haven't let Caleb be Caleb. Everybody's been trying to make him scared to not throw interceptions and all this other stuff, but it's just like, no. The entire time, Shane Waldron was trying to get this guy to be a pro-level quarterback. He was trying to get him to now, I'm not saying Shane Waldron was perfect, so by no means anybody that sees this video, which I know a lot of our fans will, and I will get a lot of comments,
Of course.
because I've been getting a lot of hate, and it's okay because I fuck with it. That means you watching, baby.
But you've also gotten
But
support.
I've gotten some support as of late where some people are like, nah, you know what? He's not actually tripping. But with that being said, Shane Waldron was trying to get Caleb Williams to understand how to be a NFL level quarterback. And what that simply meant was take advantage of your pre-snap reads, learn how to create line protection and call it, so that way your offensive line can be put in a position to be successful, and get rid of the football. We're not asking you to go out here and be spectacular, because the shit you did in college you can't get away with on the pro level. There'll be times where you can get your Brett Favre, Patrick Mahomes backyard football shit on. You know what I'm saying? There'll be times when you can scramble out the pocket and do some amazing shit. We're not telling you not to do it at all. It's just that if you think you're going to come here and survive off of that, playing against the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, doing that type of football, it ain't gonna fucking work.
See, this leads me into the quote I mentioned. I wanted to read from X. There was a post made by Aaron Feely, at Aaron Feely. I'll read it out to you. This is also his first time hearing this.
Okay.
I asked him if he wanted to hear it before the show. He said no.
No.
And this is a point I really agree with, and I've kind of been saying in each one of these episodes. So he says, and I quote, "The Bears this year are so infuriating because there isn't one thing to just fix. No one problem guy. It's just random mistakes that fluctuate from player to player on any given play. Even our good players, on any given play, someone must be the weak link that makes a mistake." Next point. "When Caleb makes a great throw and protection holds, a drop. When the receiver is open and we have time, Caleb misses them. When the receiver is beating his man and Caleb is about to turn and find them, protection breaks down for an instant sack. It always has to be someone."
Okay.
Like this whole year, we've seen that time and time and time again, and it's been to the absolute just breakdown of the Bears. And it's like, why is this happening? Is it coaching? Is it lack of chemistry? Like, I don't know. I don't think anybody understands what is going on with this Bears team, because it's so hard to tell, because it isn't just one problem.
I think I got a feeling.
Yeah, you want to say I know you want to say
no,
Caleb.
No. Here's the thing. I don't want to say Caleb anymore. And because I want to dial back on Caleb a little bit, because he is a rookie. And so I don't want to make it seem like I just want to compound every issue on this kid and make it seem like he's the total problem. I have my stance on him in saying that he didn't deliver as promised and as advertised, and I'm sticking by that. But there are multiple factors that come into play with that, and I'm not going to ignore that. So one of the factors that I want to name out is Ryan Poles. Okay. Here's the thing about Ryan Poles, I want to have this conversation with fans. and maybe I've mentioned this before, and maybe I haven't. The toughest thing to do is always the hardest thing to do, right? The toughest thing is always the hardest thing. And that might sound like, what the fuck? That's obviously. But when you really diagnose it, it's like, okay, it would have been a hard decision for Ryan Poles to stick with Justin Fields having the number 1 pick in our hands. That would have took the ultimate set of balls to tell this team and tell this organization, I'm sticking with Justin.
Mm-hmm.
But if he would have laid out a plan that made sense, he probably would have been able to do it. Essentially, some of the things that we've discussed and talked about that he could have done was had the number 1 pick, traded back to New York, get Saquon Barkley out the deal. Now you pair Justin with Saquon Barkley. Then you still have that 4th pick from New York, and you have the 9th pick. The Jets left tackle that they drafted this year, the rookie, Afashanu, I think it's his name. I might be saying it wrong. He's been a pretty good rookie left tackle. You could have drafted him at number 9 or number 4 because he went number 11 to the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have got your left tackle, and you still could have got a Rome or Malik Neighbors. You still had enough capital to get guys like a Keenan Allen if you wanted to still do the sign and trade or do anything like that. You still had enough capital to get any other linemen that you wanted to add to this. But let's say you would have got additional linemen, still got the rookie left tackle, still drafted Malik Neighbors, still traded for Keenan Allen. Now you're looking at a team that has Justin Fields, Saquon Barkley, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome or Malik Neighbors with a rookie left tackle who has turned out to be a decent left tackle as a rookie. Yeah. Arguably pretty good.
He's been pretty
good. Still got Darnell Wright on the right side, and now you can kind of fix that middle. And you probably could have went into the 3rd round and got you a decent center. And still pay for the guards that we thought we were going to get in free agency when they were available, but the Bears were just unwilling to pay for it. Let's say you go that route. You end up paying Justin whatever the $20 million or whatever the case may be, but you don't give him a long-term contract. You give him another 1-year deal to prove it. The beautiful thing about the draft is, ladies and gentlemen, there is always more quarterbacks coming. And as much as Kayla was hyped and advertised, again, that's the reason why you don't just believe the hype. You can't always believe the hype. I'm not saying Caleb is a bad quarterback and that he won't be great, but there was an opportunity for the Bears and Ryan Poles to grit in, dig deep, and say, you know what? It's not like the kid we have is just completely, utterly not talented at the quarterback position.
And this is where we agree, because I was also on the train of let's keep Justin and build around him, because I really did truly believe that if we just gave him more weapons, like
he could have looked like Ohio State Justin.
Absolutely, because I mean, we gave him DJ Moore, and DJ Moore had a career year. Justin Fields had the best, year of his short NFL career so far.
Yep.
And we won 7 games that year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like almost somehow made the playoffs that year, which is crazy to say.
Yep. And had he not got hurt for those games, that's a strong possibility. Maybe we would have squeaked in with a 9-8 record.
Exactly. And then, with the points you're making about deals we could have made during the draft, I don't know if necessarily Saquon gets packaged in that deal just because it is a lot of value. But unless New York knows for sure that they're not getting him back, which if you watched Hard Knocks in the offseason of the New York Giants, they fully believed that they were going to be able to
but if you got a chance to get Caleb and you want to get away from Daniel Jones.
Oh, no, absolutely.
You're going to give me Saquon.
Absolutely. So, I mean, if that deal was on the table, sure.
I'm sure New York would have did it.
Yeah.
I have a strong belief that they would have taken Caleb to New York would have been really, really big. Caleb in the Big Apple. If nothing else, their jersey sales would have went. If we think our jersey sales would have went through the roof.
Theirs would have went.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So I think, but keep going.
Yeah. So, I mean, and definitely having a backfield of Justin Fields and Saquon would have been deadly. I think it could probably be even more dynamic than what
Jalen and Saquon got. It could be even
when
way
Lamar
more.
and
Lamar and Derrick Henry. Yeah, they would have been essentially the NFC version of Lamar and Derrick
and
Henry.
a faster version.
And a faster version.
You know what I mean? And then you still got on the outside, if you make the Keenan trade, you got DJ, you got Keenan, and then you have your pick of
Malik.
I mean,
Rome.
shit, Marvin Harrison might have still been on the board too.
Maybe if Arizona would have decided to pick somebody else.
If you wanted a bigger body, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe Malik Neighbors fits in more than Rome or Marvin would, but I mean, fuck, that's a great and you pick up an offensive lineman, a good one.
And maybe and then now you can go into free agency, not concerning your money with a DeAndre Swift or anything like that. You get your safety and Kevin Byard, which you did, and you just focus on paying those guards that were available.
Exactly, and that's the thing, because if you already secured your left tackle, you have your right tackle already. Those are the two most expensive positions on that front five.
And
right?
they're both young now.
Exactly. So then all you got to do is find center, left guard maybe. Tevin Jenkins was still there, though, so maybe not left guard, but center and right guard.
And spend the money. That's it.
And we're still number 6 in cap space in the NFL. Like, that was literally, like, and that's why, like, I'm like, I still was supportive when we got Caleb, but I'm like, man, we really could have approached this better, because we could have walked out of there being a real contender.
Yeah, and would have walked out of there with another great haul.
Exactly.
So, I mean, like, that's what I mean by, like, the toughest decision is usually always the hardest, because it was easy to take Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy to go that route. A good portion of your fans wasn't going to be pissed. Obviously, the politics were in your favor. You were clearly being told by everyone in the media to take Caleb. So
you reset the quarterback contract clock, all that stuff.
It was easy to do that. And I think that's where he fucked up. He took the easiest path to success. And as I tell everybody, the easiest path is usually the worst path.
Maybe not the worst, but not always the best.
I would say it's the worst, because you're not going to get the gratification that you think you're going to get.
No,
you're going to get the reward, but it won't feel the same as if somebody that really got it through the trenches, really got it through the mud, really put the work in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a true craftsman, a true worker, somebody who really puts the discipline in anything, they don't respect the people who cut corners.
Very true.
They don't respect them.
Absolutely.
But speaking of the head coaching odds, I just wanted to bring that back up. Mike Vrabel, I know that was on your list of guys that you wanted. He has surfaced to be the top guy for the Bears for this new head coaching search. But a report just came out that he potentially will seek an opportunity to go to Ohio State to be their head coach.
I've been seeing that too.
And follow his coach, a longtime coach, and Bill Belichick. How do you feel about that? About him potentially
being the Bears head coach?
Well, not being the Bears head coach, but potentially
going
to Ohio State, and that being another coach that the Bears don't have access to.
I mean, like that was one of the guys that I was like open to getting, just because he was like that leader amongst men, like talking to media. He doesn't give a fuck. Like he's a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he isn't like. He isn't a guy. He's a man.
You ain't gonna push him over.
Sense.
Yeah,
you know
you're just
I mean?
not gonna push him over. He's gonna tell you exactly what he needs and what he wants.
And he's gonna carry that same moxie into the locker room, which is what I think the Bears really need at this point.
A culture change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but I mean, regardless, you still look at the list. I mean, you still have really good options still available to you.
If I'm a betting man, he's gonna end up being our head coach.
You think so?
Yep.
I think if he does end up being our head coach, I wouldn't be mad. But
I'm not going to be excited.
I wouldn't be satisfied or excited.
I'm not going to be excited.
Yeah, because
and I think it would be another easy way out.
And then it's going to be, I think, eventually another fumble, because we saw what eventually happened in Arizona once people figured him out.
Yep.
So, which is crazy, because we talked about Bill Belichick going to UNC last episode, and it finally happened.
Yep.
So I did really see that happening, and
here we are. And Mike Vrabel might do the same thing. Something is happening with college where good coaches are saying fuck the NFL.
I mean,
and that's going to be another conversation too.
Yeah, maybe next episode we'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right, I want to pivot to the Bulls. And I want to specifically talk about Arturas and Mark Eversley. All right, look. These guys have just fuck the Bulls with no lube.
Oh,
they have really just kind of how
I said ow.
Very much ow. They have done some very dumb ass moves. Starting with the fact that the biggest dumbass move was that they didn't keep Lauri Markkinen. That was their first big dumbass move.
Okay.
I didn't understand why they allowed Lauri Markkinen to walk free or even tried to trade him. You should have repaired that situation with Lauri, because essentially what you were passing up is exactly what you've been trying to look for this entire time.
Yeah, very true.
A 6'10", 6'11" guy that can stretch the floor and play multiple positions. You've been searching for that since Lauri Markkinen has left. That's number one.
Mhm.
The second dumbass move that they did: sign and trade Thaddeus Young for DeMar DeRozan to pair him with Zach LaVine, as if somehow two dominant guards that need the ball was going to work when one guy specifically can't shoot outside above the free throw line, and the other guy needs space to be able to do the things he does, get into the lane.
That attempt at a big three.
That attempt at the big three, AK and Mark's big three, right? That bullshit set us back 5 years, in my opinion.
I agree.
And the real reason it set us back 5 years, because once again, making the tough decision is usually the hardest. DeMar DeRozan came in that first season, and he was the MVP candidate. That was the time to sell him. I know people are probably like, why the fuck would you do that? He was shooting and winning these game-winning shots and blah, 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 blah. If you understand history and you have any type of basketball knowledge, then you recognize that there was no way in hell that DeMar DeRozan was going to repeat the things that he did in that first season with the Bulls. And guess what? Did he? All right, so I don't need to hear shit from anybody else about it.
He didn't.
Fuck no, he did not. He did not repeat it.
And I knew that shit wasn't going to
And
happen.
I knew that shit was going to happen. And I had said all that season, we had conversations about it because we're coaching and doing things like that. And I kept saying, there's no need to hold on to this guy right now. Trade him at his highest. And the haul we could have got during that time probably would have set us in motion right now to be able to use that type of package to go get a guy like a Giannis, to go get a guy like a Jokic even, to go get guys to plug in right now to go help this team get to that next level.
We would have been 5 years ahead instead of 5 years back.
Exactly. And now that leads us to the last dumbass move that they've done. They traded Alex Caruso straight up for Josh Giddey. In what world do you think you can salvage the opportunity during the season at the trade deadline when you could have got 2 first-round picks for Alex Caruso? You don't trade him because you're supposedly trying to fight for the playoffs, when you've seen the last 2 seasons that DeMar DeRozan couldn't lead you out the play-in. So you don't trade Alex for the 2 first-round picks, and then you trade him straight up for a guy that OKC was literally trying to kick off their team.
For various reasons.
For various reasons that we could bring up, but it hasn't been proven guilty, so we're going to stay away from it. But yes, amidst the fact that he can't shoot for shit, and you have to build a team around him, and yes, he can't shoot for shit could have been used as another joke, but we're not going to do it, Coach.
No, we
But he can't shoot for shit, can't shoot the 3, and you have to build a team around him.
Yeah.
So now you bring him to the Bulls, and you're expecting him to be, quote unquote, a part of your future. How? Are you telling me that the Chicago Bulls are going to make Josh Giddey the face of their franchise and try to build a team around a non-shooting 6'8" point guard whose only true asset is passing the ball? And he doesn't even do that so well that he's averaging 10 assists a game. That's what we're going to do. And no, we're not going to do it again, Coach. Which leads me now to the last part of this. Patrick Williams. Your most coveted and prized possession from the AK and Mark Eversley experience in the lottery situation that we were in. Top 5 pick.
Number 4.
Number 4, Patrick Williams, who has turned out to be absolutely not what we thought he was going to be. I'm not saying that he can't be a good role player. I'm not saying that he can't be a good supporting player. There's definitely things to Patrick Williams' games that I like. But the reach was a long-ass reach for him at number 4. So in every single move that they've done succinctly, It has not worked. The only good thing that they've done is getting Lonzo Ball. And the only reason why that is looking like potentially a failure is because he got hurt.
Yeah.
But they have a chance now, in my opinion, to turn this team around if they can get their heads out of their asses and recognize that the young pieces that you have are not building blocks for a great team in the future.
Yeah, agreed.
You have decided that Zach LaVine was your max player. If you think in any world that a good front office will allow that max player and all-star to go away for a bag of peanuts and some condoms for Josh Giddey, because he needs the condoms.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I thought we're not doing it.
Well, it's okay for him to have condoms. It's just not okay for him to do the things that he was doing. But if you think that it's okay for you to trade Zach LaVine for just nothing, then double down on trading Vucevic for nothing, and you're telling me you're going to sell me on tanking as a Bulls fan, I have newsflash for you, Arturus. You're a fucking dumbass. Because in no world has tanking been successful in helping NBA teams win championships. Maybe you get back to the playoffs, but that's it. Philadelphia.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say that's
they're your most prime example. Philadelphia tanked their ass off, and they only got 2 players out of the deal. Every other player that they drafted was a dud. And arguably, the 2 that I'm talking about, people will say only 1 became something because people hate Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
So you went through all of that, trust the process, tanking, blah, 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 and still got no fucking championship. So why would the Bulls follow that model?
Not even a taste.
Why would the Bulls follow that model?
I don't see it.
I don't see it either, and I don't understand why. But that is where we're headed. That is what I think is going to happen with all of these rumors and reports circulating around people wanting Vooch. Vooch could be traded. The Bulls are thinking about pushing Lonzo out. The Nuggets are interested in LaVine. They are literally going down the path of no success. And there's a lot of stupid Bulls fans who think that because you got the chance to get Cooper Flag as if Cooper Flag is LeBron James. Newsflash, he ain't LeBron James. He ain't Michael Jordan. He ain't Victor Wembanyama. He ain't Shaquille O'Neal. He's not going to come into the NBA and transform this league. And he's not a franchise-setting player. He's not going to change the trajectory of your franchise. A lot of players that get drafted in the NBA, whether you want to believe it or not, in the lottery or even in the draft, usually most of them turn out to be great supporting players. There are very few drafts where you just come out the gate getting all of these guys who become franchise players. That's why they have documentaries on them, because it doesn't fucking happen on a consistent basis. I don't know. You got something to add?
I really don't, because I mean, I thought you did a great job at breaking down that whole Bulls situation. And we agree upon a lot of the things Bulls wise. So I really don't have anything else to add, and we're kind of running short on time here. So in that case, let's get to our Week 16 predictions here. All right, yeah, you take a little backseat. All right, let me lead this one. All right, all right. Thursday night, so tomorrow night from the time of recording, we've got the Broncos taking on the Chargers in LA. Who do you got?
I got the Broncos.
Yeah, you know what? Give me the Broncos as well. They've been playing really, really good as of late. Just put up 31 points last week. Saturday game, 1 p.m.
Kansas City and Houston.
Oh, is that? Wait.
No, that's not the game.
Yeah.
That's not the game. They just have a Saturday game for some odd reason.
Yeah, at a weird time. But yeah, it's in KC.
I got Houston because Patrick Mahomes may or may not play.
Yeah, he had that Mahomes limp again.
But they do have Carson Wentz as their backup.
Yeah. You know what? I'll still take KC though.
Take KC.
I'll take KC.
So, all right, Baltimore Steelers. That's going to be a hell of a game on Saturday.
It's going to be a real good one.
I got Baltimore for revenge.
The Steelers took the last one, right?
Yeah,
give me Baltimore
as well.
Baltimore they really need this game.
They want to win that game.
Yeah,
if they want to win,
if
they want a chance to win the AFC North, they have to win that. By the way, have you started watching the Hard Knocks for that?
I just started last night. I'm on episode 1 still.
Yeah, me too.
Really
I got it, but I love it.
Really good.
One of my players from Universal, he reached out to me and he said that I remind him of Coach Tomlin, and I said it's because I'm black, and he said no, Coach. He said, "No, coach.
That's funny.
A lot of your motivation and stuff like that reminds me of how Tomlin talks." And I
see
was just like, "Yo, that made me feel so good." I was
Yeah.
like, "Cause Coach Tomlin is fucking phenomenal." So
Yeah.
even being like compared to him in any aspect was fucking great.
All right.
New York versus Falcons.
Yeah,
we
New
got
York in Atlanta. Give me Atlanta. Oh, Michael Penix is making his debut.
yes.
Yep.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that
he
because
is.
I did want to say that. We talked about Michael Penix for a
did.
second and said that Atlanta was doing a good job of holding him out and getting him a chance to learn. Maybe they finally have accepted that.
This is the perfect game to debut.
Oh
him
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. But I think they feel like, well, Kirk Cousins is not taking us anywhere, so here's a chance to kind of throw Michael Penix out there, and maybe they feel like he's learned enough, so let's see what he can do.
No doubt.
Detroit, Chicago.
Detroit.
They don't have a defense coach. I got the Bears.
I don't care. Detroit really wants to win this game to
They
stay
do.
on top of the NFC.
I do. I know
need
they
it,
do.
so.
But because they have no defense at all, I got the Chicago Bears winning in a big one,
Okay.
probably by a lot.
Okay.
Arizona, Carolina.
I'm not going to take Carolina again. I've been taking them the last 3 weeks, and I've been wrong. Give me Arizona.
I got Arizona too.
Yeah.
Rams, Jets. I got Rams. Philly, Washington.
Philly.
I got Washington getting their revenge.
Okay.
Bengals, Cleveland.
Bengals.
I got Bengals too. Colts, Tennessee.
Colts.
Give me Colts. Minnesota, Seattle. Give me Minnesota.
Minnesota. Geno Smith probably doesn't play that game. He's hurt.
Yeah. Buffalo, New England. Buffalo. Raiders, Jacksonville.
Oh, so bad. Give me Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah.
San Francisco, Miami.
San Francisco. They need it if they still want to have.
I got
chance.
San Francisco
Yeah.
too. Bucks, Cowboys. I got Bucks.
Bucks.
Green Bay, New Orleans. I got Green Bay.
Oh, disgusting. Green Bay.
All right. As always, everybody, we want to remind you of the halftime sweepstakes. You know what to do. Post a video, tag us in it. Follow our Instagram, follow our YouTube. Make sure you have the correct score between the Bears and Detroit game. Real quick, Coach, what do you have at halftime?
What do I have at halftime? I'm gonna have it 24-3 Detroit.
At halftime, I got the Bears 21, Detroit 10.
Oh wow. Oh, I also wanted to know before we end this episode, next week is Christmas. We will not be recording an episode next week. We're taking the week off.
Yes.
To be with family. So, Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy holidays.
Merry
I will
Christmas.
be at the Bears game on the 26th against Seattle.
Okay.
So, if any of you guys are there, we'll see you. All right.
And we will see you guys on New Year's, baby.
Yes, sir.
As always, see Red Bear down.
Yes, sir.